Hello, my name is Melissa Daniels, and this is Strabismus to Stereopsis, a channel where we talk all about strabismus, lazy eye, squint, whatever you want to call it. I try to give you resources and ideas about how to fix strabismus and how to live with it. Today, I am giving you 3 gifts of knowledge from 3 amazing gentlemen, W.C. Maples, Robert Sanet, and David Cook. 3 just nuggets that have changed the trajectory of my vision therapy and completely changed the way I think about my vision and how to fix it. So before we jump into that, I just want to make sure you know you can go over to learn.strabismussolutions.com. There you can take a quiz that is going to help kind of guide and direct you based on your diagnosis to what solutions will be most impactful for you on your strabismus journey. You can also sign up for a Zoom call or take one of my courses. All of those things are just going to help give you more personalized advice on your journey. There are so many different amazing people that have contributed to vision therapy. So these 3 are definitely not the end all, but they each have kind of a theme about what they teach that has really changed the way I look at any eye exercise that I am doing. So first, let's talk about W.C. Maples. I've talked a little bit about him before, but his big phrase is start where you are and go where you ain't. And the idea is you have to start by finding a place where you can use both of your eyes. So for me, that was like right here. Like I would try to do anything with 3D. I had to be so super close. And if I was really close, I could start getting it. If I was really far, I couldn't. And so W.C. Maples just teaches like you just start right here and then you try to move to a spot where you can't go, right? So start where you are, go where you ain't. So for me, let's talk, pretend we're doing luster. Luster is where you wear red and green or red and blue glasses. You look at something that's plain white and each eye, one eye is seeing red, one eye is seeing green, and you're trying to get a mixture of those 2 colors. For me, I could only get a mixture of the colors when I was super close. So what did I do? I started right here and I would slowly kind of back up, and what we would say is like massage that like until I could get to here and still keep the mixture. Another way would be to slowly move my head up and down and to the sides. And again, we're trying to start where we can see it and then move, whether that's a different gaze, whether that's a further direction, right? So you're trying to kind of expand where you're successful. And it makes sense, but a lot of people are like, okay, well, I can't do this, so I've got to just focus here. I'm going to try to do the Brock string at the distance, because I can't do that. But it's like, no, start where you can and move it 1 inch, move it 2 inches. If you have double vision, when you look to the right, don't start in the right. You start in the left where you can see single, and then you slowly move your head or you slowly move the object, right? Like that's the idea, is you always start where you can have success. And I just love that. It has really helped me as somebody who's like, just tackle the impossible. Like I want to start where it's impossible and force it. And that's not the best way. So thank you, W.C. Maples, for that gift of wisdom. Start where you are, go where you ain't. Next, let's talk about David Cook. You guys all know I think David Cook is a genius. I love his book, The Shape of the Sky. It's sitting right here on my shelf. And his big overarching concept is to see big. I get obsessed over details. I want to see, at the doctor's office, there's the different stereo tests where, which dot is closest. And I want to pass all those tests. And I kind of obsess over those little details that don't actually really make a big difference in everyday life and in function of your eyes, right? But the big picture, how big you can see, how much can you see at the same time, that is so much more impactful on your vision and your overall success than how small can I see, how clear can I make it, right? Like for some people that's important, but as far as strabismus goes, it's not about how small can I see, it's about how big, how much. This is the whole concept of my Mastering Peripheral course, is how to see big. And that all comes from David Cook. And that amazing knowledge, when I read that, it was the biggest epiphany for me, because I was so down about like, why can't I see, why, like all these little things, these little exercises, and I couldn't do them. And am I even having success? And then I realized, no, I can see so much bigger. I can see more of this world. And that has impacted the function of driving, sports, all these functional visual things that I need to do. That has impacted that aspect of my vision so much more than any exercise of like fine details. So thank you, Dr. Cook, for that amazing wisdom. Last, I want to talk about Dr. Sanet. Dr. Robert Sanet, he has taught so many people how to do vision therapy and a new way of doing vision therapy for strabismus. I could go through 1,000,001 things that he has taught, but again, the overarching theme that I see when I've learned from him personally, taking his classes, watching his videos, things like that, is actually what he does when he's with a patient. And what it is that he gives it a lot of time. He doesn't show somebody an exercise and they can't do it, and then he's like, okay, we'll try something else. He's like, okay, that's fine. We're just going to keep looking at it, right? So mostly I'm thinking of this in terms of like a 3D exercise, right? So for those of us with strabismus, a lot of times we are not able to see any depth on any, eye exercise. And I know for me, I would, look at it and be like, yeah, I don't see anything, and then put it down. Like, this doesn't work for me. Move on to something else that does work, right? And so this kind of does go against W.C. Maples a little bit. But they're both important, But in learning how to do something new, Dr. Sanet's never rushed. He just gives it time. He's like, that's fine. Just keep looking at it. That's okay. Let's try this. Why don't you try moving? Try to get a little bit closer. So he's a little bit more, I guess, trying to find where they can do it. But he doesn't just put something away as soon as the patient doesn't have the right response. And that, as somebody who is more of a perfectionist and wants to see it and wants to do the exercise correctly and try to force it, that has really impacted me, that you can just sit there. And even if you can't see the depth, you can just sit there and like relax your eyes and just let your brain think about it. And that actually can be more powerful than anything, because your brain has to learn how to see that stereo, right? It's not going to just happen instantaneously, and it's not going to happen just by flashing it and coming back down, right? Giving yourself a lot of time in that space. So if you're in vision therapy, I'm sure your vision therapist and optometrist know all these things, but sometimes it helps for you to know those things too, to know like, it's okay that I'm not seeing the depth. I don't have to lie to them. And I remember I used to be so worried about giving the right answer. Like, oh, it's floating behind. Oh yeah, it's floating back here. Like, I really wanted to give the right answer, but just being like, I don't know the right answer. I'm just going to keep looking at it. It's okay. I just want to keep giving myself that space, because time and time again, watching Dr. Sanet and then trying some of those things on my own, it's amazing. As soon as you stop worrying about making it happen and you just kind of relax and let it be, then it pops. It's like, oh, there it is. Yeah, I can see it floating now. And it's really amazing how much of a mind game it is. Those are your 3 little nuggets and gifts for Christmas this year. 1, start where you are and go where you ain't. Find that zone where you can have success and then expand from there. 2, work on seeing big, not seeing small, right? We want to take in as much of this world as possible, not narrow it down. And then 3, give it time. Your brain needs the time to learn how to see this depth. So if you're not seeing it right away, that's okay. Just give it time and keep kind of like playing around with it a little bit and try to find that zone where you can have success. I hope you are able to implement at least one of these ideas into what you are working on right now. I promise these concepts are so important and they will change the whole trajectory of your strabismus journey. Let me know how it goes in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.